The Iron Vengeance, a heavily armed gunship, drifted silently in the black void of space. Its crew, hardened by years of combat, waited for their next mission. Captain Roy, a grizzled veteran with a scar running down his cheek, leaned over the holographic display in the command center. The screen flickered with distress signals from a nearby mining colony. "Pirates again," muttered Roy, his voice rough. "They hit the outpost on Lyra 7. No survivors." Beside him, his first officer, Lieutenant Mira, clenched her fists. "They're getting bolder. Last week, it was a cargo convoy. Now, a whole colony?" The crew exchanged grim looks. These weren't just thieves, they were butchers. The pirate warlord known as the Reaper had been terrorizing the sector, leaving nothing but wreckage and bodies in his wake. Roy straightened up. "We're ending this. Plot a course to Lyra 7. Full combat readiness." The Iron Vengeance roared to life, engines flaring as it surged toward the colony. Scanners picked up heat signatures, multiple pirate ships, still looting the ruins. "Lock weapons," Roy ordered. "Today, we wipe them out." The crew braced themselves. The hunt had begun. The Iron Vengeance dropped out of quantum travel near Lyra 7, its engines humming softly. The mining colony lay in ruins, smoldering debris and shattered hulls floating in zero gravity. Scanners beeped urgently. 3 pirate gunships, reported the tactical officer, a burly man named Dex. "They're hiding in the asteroid field." Roy narrowed his eyes. "Too easy. They're waiting for us." Mira checked the radar. "Could be an ambush. We go in blind, we're dead." Roy smirked. "Then we don't go in blind. Dex, deploy sensor drones. Let's see what they're hiding." The drones shot out, weaving through the asteroids. Seconds later, the feed revealed 2 more pirate ships lurking in the shadows, weapons charged. Mira tensed. 5 against 1. Bad odds. Roy cracked his knuckles. For them. The Iron Vengeance powered up its thrusters. The pirates had set a trap, but they didn't know they were hunting a predator. The Iron Vengeance streaked toward the asteroid field, its railguns humming with charged energy. The pirate ships broke formation, scrambling like startled rats. "Target the lead ship," Roy commanded. "Cut off the head." Dex's fingers flew over the weapons console. Locked. Firing. A blinding blue lance of plasma tore through the void, punching clean through the pirate gunship's engines. The vessel detonated in a silent fireball, casting jagged shadows across the asteroids. The remaining pirates opened fire, their laser batteries lighting up the darkness. The Iron Vengeance shuddered as a volley slammed into its shields. "Shields at 70%, Mira reported. Roy grinned. "They're panicking. Helm, hard to port, bring us behind that asteroid. Dex, ready the torpedoes." The gunship banked sharply, using the floating rock as cover. The pirates, too eager for revenge, took the bait and pursued. "Now," Roy growled. 2 high-yield torpedoes streaked out, curving around the asteroid. The pirates had no time to react. The explosions ripped through them, leaving only twisted metal and fading screams on the comms. 1 ship remained, larger, meaner, its hull painted with the Reaper's mark. It turned to flee. Roy's voice was ice. "After them." The last pirate ship vanished into a swirling nebula, its ion trail flickering like a dying candle. The Iron Vengeance followed, its sensors straining against the cosmic interference. Static crackled across the comms. "They're leading us somewhere," Mira said, fingers dancing across her console. "This nebula's crawling with sensor ghosts. Perfect place for an alarm shrieked. For new signatures blinked to life around them, hidden pirate fighters, engines flaring as they launched a coordinated strike. Laser fire lanced toward the gunship from all sides. Evasive maneuvers. Roy barked. The ship lurched as the helmsman threw them into a spiraling dive. Decks, light them up. Turrets whined as they locked on, spitting crimson bolts. One fighter erupted into flames. Another spiraled out of control, smashing into an asteroid. But the remaining two kept coming, their guns blazing. A proximity alert screamed. Torpedo inbound. Mira shouted. Roy gripped his chair. Brace for. The impact rocked the ship. Lights flickered. Smoke poured from a damaged console. Mira wiped blood from her forehead. Shields down. They're going for the kill. Outside, the Reaper's ship emerged from the nebula's haze, its massive railgun charging with a sinister glow. Roy bared his teeth. Not today. The Iron Vengeance spun wildly, its damaged thrusters sputtering as the Reaper's railgun pulsed with deadly intent. Alarms wailed through the smoke-filled bridge. Emergency power to aft thrusters. Roy roared over the chaos. The ship lurched sideways just as the railgun fired, a white-hot slug screaming past their hull close enough to scorch the armor. Myra's hands flew across her console. I've got a lock on their weapon systems. Their shields are weakest near the... Another explosion rocked them as a pirate fighter strafed their port side. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Dex coughed, gripping his firing controls. We can't take another hit like that. Roy's mind raced. The nebula's interference was their only advantage. Helm, full burn toward that gas cluster, will blind their sensors. Dex, when I say now, fire everything we've got at their railgun housing. The Iron Vengeance plunged into the swirling violet gas, pirate fighters close behind. The Reaper's ship hesitated, its targeting systems confused by the nebula's energy fluctuations. Now! Dex slammed his fist on the firing controls. Every remaining missile and plasma charge streaked through the nebula, guided by the ship's last functioning targeting computer. The explosions lit up the gas clouds like supernovas. When the glare faded, the Reaper's ship hung dead in space, its railgun turret a mangled wreck spewing atmosphere. Roy allowed himself a grim smile. Bring us about. Time to finish this. The Iron Vengeance locked onto the crippled pirate ship with a magnetic grapple, the impact shuddering through both vessels. Roy stood from his command chair, pulling his plasma cutter from its rack. Seal your helmets, he ordered, his voice echoing inside the crew's armored suits. We take the bridge, we take their leader. No prisoners. The boarding tube hissed as it pressurized. On the other side waited a battered airlock door, and beyond it, the Reaper's butchers. Mira checked her rifle's charge. They'll be waiting in ambush. Roy smirked behind his visor. Let them. The breaching charge detonated with a concussive whump. As the smoke cleared, the crew stormed into a hail of gunfire. Pirates crouched behind makeshift barricades, their weapons blazing. Dex took point, his heavy armor deflecting rounds as he returned fire. 2 pirates dropped, their chests smoking. Roy advanced like a force of nature, his plasma cutter searing through a pirate who lunged at him with a vibroblade. Alarms wailed through the pirate ship's corridors. The surviving crew fell back, scrambling toward the bridge. After them. Roy barked. Don't let them. An explosion rocked the corridor. The lights died. In the flickering emergency glow, a massive figure stepped forward, the Reaper himself, clad in scavenged battle armor and hefting a rotary cannon. The real fight was just beginning. The Reaper's rotary cannon spun up with a mechanical whine, its barrel glowing in the dim emergency lights. Roy didn't flinch. Cover. Mira yelled as the weapon erupted, filling the corridor with deafening gunfire. The crew dove behind bulkheads as rounds chewed through metal like paper. Roy activated his comm, Dex, now. A thunderous explosion rocked the ceiling above the Reaper as Dex's remotely detonated charges blew. The pirate warlord staggered as debris rained down, just long enough for Roy to lunge forward, plasma cutter blazing. The two titans clashed in a storm of sparks and fury. The Reaper swung his cannon like a club, shattering Roy's helmet visor. Roy retaliated with a vicious elbow to the throat, followed by his plasma cutter plunging into the warlord's armor. The smell of scorched flesh filled the air. With a final, guttural roar, Roy wrenched the weapon sideways, severing the Reaper's armor cabling. The warlord collapsed to his knees, his systems failing. "It's over," Roy growled, pressing his cutter against the Reaper's exposed face. The pirate spat blood. "You think this changes anything? More will come." Roy's finger tightened on the trigger. "Let them." The plasma flare lit up the corridor. Silence fell. As the Iron Vengeance detached from the derelict pirate ship, its crew tended to their wounds. The sector would have peace, for now. Roy stared at the stars through his cracked visor. Somewhere out there, new threats waited. And so did he.